Hello and welcome to this afternoon session all about Google Slides. I was looking going, I'm not on the stream, but I'm in now, so that's good. Thank you so much for everyone who's coming in to join us for this session. It's going to be a nice, slow, steady walk through just to see how we get into Google Slides. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ian Vosser, and I'm a teacher at Brace High School, but also doing digital work with Tablet Academy Scotland, and making use of Google for Education products is something that is really deeply embedded in my practice. And Google Slides as my presentation productivity tool is absolutely well up there. But one of the things that I use all the time, absolutely vital to my toolbox. So this is going to be a nice, slow, steady walkthrough of basically getting you started with slides, and then hopefully showing you some tips and tricks of things that you might not have thought of before, or kind of different ways of doing things. So all of this will be based on the browser edition, but of course there's also the ability to be able to get the apps both for Android and iOS, and the functionality in those is broadly the same but slightly different. So check out the Google help support documentation if you're kind of struggling to find something, because not all the features are necessarily available, but we're today going to look at the desktop app. Now we have got comments, so please do drop any comments or thoughts or questions in the chat that we have available. If you're watching on the Google site, you might need to just pop your window out into YouTube to be able to access that chat. If you hit the share button, is it in that corner or that corner? I think it's that corner. You hit the share button up here somewhere. Yeah, couldn't be a weatherman. Then you should then get the option to hit three dots, which appears somewhere in the middle here. And then it will open into YouTube and you should see chat on the right hand side. If you're watching this on a device that's logged in with your Glow account, then the ability to log into YouTube won't be enabled. So you might need to reconnect with a personal account. But you're very welcome, and you can always reach me on Twitter at Mr. Vosser, and hopefully you can use the hashtag LDL 2021. We've had loads of tweets coming in throughout the day, and it's been really impressive to see that for some people the hashtag has been trending as well. So that's really, really pleasing to see. But as I said, please leave your thoughts and comments in the chat, because looking forward to hearing from you and engaging there. So I'm going to bring my screen in. I'll make my screen full screen, and I'll just talk through what I'm doing, how I access slides, how I can share slides, and we'll kind of take it from there. So in the Omni box, which is where the address bar is, I'm just going to type in slides.new. Now, this .new ending, it's a really nice way of typing into a URL box the ability to be able to open up documents quickly. If I, for instance, go to a new tab and type in docs.new, I get an untitled document. And if I typed in meets.new, I'd get a new Google Meet launched straight in there for me. I'll close those straight down because we don't need those. We're concentrating on the Google Slides. But hopefully that's a nice little tip or trick that you might not have known about to be able to open up new untitled presentations, documents, meets really easily. Okay, when I first get into Google Slides, what I always encourage people to do is to jump up into the top left-hand corner where it says Untitled Presentation, and just to stick in there just a title. So when you go to find this later, it's really easy to find. I don't sort things in my Google Drive. I just let everything get saved in there by default. I'm not a big fan of folders. Providing you're giving things sensible names and you've got keywords obviously throughout the document. One thing that Google is really good at, and this might come as a surprise to you, is search. So being able to find things in Google Drive just by using that search functionality is really important. And you can filter down on those searches as well by who created it, who modified it, what type of document it is, dates, sizes. So, I think like Google now, and I search for things as opposed to necessarily having them all nicely organized in hierarchical folder structures. So I'm just going to call this demo presentation, hashtag LDL 2021. And you can also stick emojis in there as well. That's absolutely no problem at all. And that will save straight up just like that. Nice thing about putting emojis in the title of a document is when you're sharing it with young people, it's it's just a bit more friendly looking, isn't it? A bit more fun. I can see you won't be able to see that because I've got a banner on. So if you give me a second, I'll just whip that banner off. There you go. Hopefully now you can see up here the document is titled just like so. Okay, that does cover the menu, so I'm going to leave that off for a bit. Now we're in. You'll see on the right-hand side here, the very first menu that is offered to us is the themes menu, and this is on the right-hand side. So I always suggest starting with a theme that works for you, and then you can go on to personalize that as you go. So this has got a nice orange, a bit like Tablet Academy, so we'll roll with that. And then I'm going to just close that themes area off. So I'm then going to start putting my information in. That's fantastic. If I want to create myself a new slide, I've just clicked into the left-hand side and I press Control M, and that gives me a new slide just like so. Now, with the slides, it might be a case that the default layout that it's given me isn't the layout I'm looking for. So if I go to the layout option, I can go in and select here what I would rather have. So Control M to create a new slide, and then I can dive into layout and pick a layout of my choice. So after the first slide, it will default to our title and body slide unless I select something else. And I've selected something else, then that will become the default when I create more slides. So that's the default there, and that's the default there. So putting in the information, just like so. One thing I often find is I've made a slide and then I want to reuse the same slide, but I just want to make some slight tweaks to it. If you right click, if you've got a mouse, or two-finger tap if you're on a Chromebook, and use the option duplicate slide, that will let you duplicate the slide, and so you've got that appearing twice. That's a really nice feature that I like to use when I'm creating multiple slides. Okay, so we can see here that we've got a presentation coming together, and the layout I'm pretty happy with, but I'd like to make a few tweaks to it. So one of the really fantastic features is being able to use a master slide. So if I go down to slide and then edit master, I can go up to the top master slide here, and I could say make a change to the font size or the font type, or I can go into the different layouts. These are the different layout designs that we have, and I could start making some changes. So see here, we've got an orange box here with some white text. Well, let's take that and make it kind of a light gray color instead. And let's change that font so that we're making it a black color. If I then press the close button, you'll see here, it's automatically changed both of these slides for me. And hopefully this font is black. That's fantastic. So we've got all of that looking just how we want by editing the master slide. But what happens if, sorry, let me just go back. What happens if I've got this slide here and I'm looking at the layouts and none of those layouts quite match what I'm looking for? Well, that's fine. Go back into slide, down to edit master, and I can pick one that's close. So I would say you don't necessarily want to start from scratch again. There's no problem with building off a template that's already been used. So I can right click and I could add myself in a new layout. But I always think instead of starting from scratch, you may as well start with something that's closest to what you want to create, duplicate that layout, and then I can see here I've got quite a heavy grey background. So if I go into the background option, I'm going to create myself one with a, I guess, kind of like a lighty blue background. Yeah, there we go. And then I think I'm going to want to have black font on that so that it really stands out just like so. Okay, so that's giving me a couple of, or a new layout. Now up here, it's given me a name. So this was called Swiss main point, and this is giving me Swiss main point 1. I'm just going to rename that to demo points. You might give it a different name or leave the default. That's absolutely fine. So I'm now going to close my master slide back off. I'm going to go into my layout here, and I'm going to be able to select the demo point layout that I've made. It's well worth setting yourself up layouts using the master slide option and then applying it. The big bonus being it allows you to achieve consistency across all of your slides, and the consistency really helps add to that visual experience for the people looking at the slide deck. So master slides, really powerful. Themes, really good springboard for you to start with. So hopefully in terms of kind of setting up those layouts, it's worth having an eye on the design first to get those visuals looking just how you want them to look. Okay, let's say I now want to add myself a picture into this presentation. Well, going to the insert option, I'm going to insert image, and I'm going to search the web. Now, if I had an image in Google Drive or Photos or my computer, I could upload it. If I had it stored on some web-based file server somewhere, I could put the URL in, or I could turn the camera on and take a picture of myself now. Actually, let's allow access to that, and we'll try creating that now. Right, okay, so there's a button here, which is the camera button. I'll smile. Fantastic, it gives me a preview of that. Yeah, we're going to roll with that. Wonderful. Hit insert, and there's the picture that I've just taken. So that's just picked up the web camera on the device. Obviously, that option's only available if you've got a camera attached. Now, I don't know about you, the picture's fine, but I want to be able to potentially make it look a little bit more professional. We're going to look at the mask image option. This is one of my favorite things to do in Google Slides. Get a picture and then mask it into a shape. So I'm just going to mask the oval shape over the image, and as you can see here, it really has made an oval shape. But I'm going to go in and click on the Format Options button now. Size and rotation. Make sure this aspect ratio isn't ticked, and I'm just going to make it 7 by 7, so I've got myself a perfect circle. Now you'll see that's squashed my head, and that's not so good. So if I go into the crop image option, what I can then do is start to play. Whoops. Go into the crop image option. Let's try pulling that down a little bit there first. Okay, so I can begin to crop in myself, so I can end up with this perfect circle. No, I'm not happy with that. Let's go back. Undo, undo, undo. So to undo, Control Z. Don't be afraid to use undo. That's not a problem. Let's go back and go in and mask again. Now if we go in and format those options. Okay, so I'm looking to make this a circle. So we're going to start by changing the dimensions again. And I said that had it's now squashed me into a way that I didn't like. So I can start by going in. Okay, so I go into the crop feature, and if I just pick up and drag the image around a little bit, the dragging the image around a bit allows me to be able to pick up the resize bits instead of the crop bits. So I'm then going to pull the picture out so I look less cropped. And then I'm going to move it around a little bit to just center me. And you'll notice the red line appears for me, and that allows me to center it both horizontally and vertically. Okay. Immediately, that's maybe a bit too close for my face, but immediately it's looking a little bit better than it did. So I can make that a bit smaller, and then I can move it around again. Just maybe center that off. That's good. Fantastic. Now, there are some options as well as fiddling with the position and size to recolor it. So I could maybe look to see if black and white suits me a bit better. And I certainly think in this case, it is looking better in black and white. So then it's just a case of kind of moving it around. And you can see this is the same with all images. As you move them around, you'll get red lines appear, which show you where you can align things against. And that really helps in terms of making things look a bit more professional. So I can then increase my font, and we can change the title here to be the hashtag. So make sure you're making use of that on social media. So masking an image, that's really quite powerful. Now then, let's say I've got a title down here, and you'll see it's auto fitting to the box, and it's not going over the image because it knows that there is an image there, unless you force the writing. But we can change the order by moving things backwards and forwards. So that should then allow things to easily be changed. Okay, let's undo those bits there as well. Okay, there it is. We're in. That's all looking good. What do we want to do next? Well, we're going to keep going with inserting things. So I'm going to go to a new slide here. It's giving me the option to add text. I'm going to delete that out, and instead I'm going to insert video. Now, if you've got a new account and you haven't used the account before, you might need to go into YouTube to enable YouTube effectively on your account, and then you'll need to pop in and either copy the URL across or come back. So I'm going to go here, Leaders of Digital Learning, and I'm just going to select this video in here. I really like how you can just drop YouTube videos in, and then you can just spend a little bit of time deciding how you want to center it. So as you move it, you see those red lines appear, and you can quite easily adjust the size as well with the red line appearing so that we can see it's all lined up. Now, clicking on to the video that we have here, you can see we get some video playback options. So the video playback options allow us to play something on click, or we can play it automatically when the slide, when you get onto the slide. I really like being able to play automatically. And you can also choose where you start and stop with the video. So if you just want to show a particular clip to a group of learners, well, that's nice and easy because you just select the start time and then the end time, and that's good. If you're importing some timers or something that you're using, that you've got from YouTube, and you don't want the sound, just select that mute audio option as well. That's there for you. You can also choose some more specific size and rotation options, just like you can with all the other shapes as well. But I usually find the default ones are absolutely fine. I've never noticed the drop shadow option on the video. I'm not sure you'd want to have a shadow of your video playing, but there you go. So there is inputting a video into your slide deck. Now, one of the things I also like adding in is audio. So I've got here that this font is black. Well, that's good, but let's say I want people to hear that. Well, if I have an extension like Mote, for example, I'd be able to record audio straight into Google Slides. But for people who don't have Mote because Mote isn't enabled, you can use free software like Audacity or any online recorder. And hopefully, if I just hit record, this font is black. and I'll stop that. You can see here a recording's being made. Now I'm going to just take it off the screen and save that for now. And I'll get that saved as a MP3. Fantastic. So that's saving there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the audio, and I'm going to, it's looking for the audio in my drive. So what I'll do is I'm going to go to drive.google.com, and I'm going to get myself the audio uploaded. Now I know I have got the audio on my desktop, and I'm just going to hit the audio.mp3. That's uploaded for me right there. In my drive, if I just type in audio, I can then see I've got audio.mp3 ready to go, and I can select that and insert it in. I can then choose where I put that audio in the document, and I can also choose whether it starts playing on click or automatically. So I think in terms of an accessibility point of view, or if you're doing voice over PowerPoint, you can use any kind of recording software that you have, and then you can upload that to the computer. Let's just give this a little refresh. Okay. So looking then at the options for this audio, I can choose what volume it presents at, and I can also choose if the audio loops as well. So for some of my slides, I've got some music that I've downloaded from the internet, copyright-free music, of course, and I've put that at the start of some of my slide decks for when I'm presenting live to children, and I've put the audio on there just to loop. So if I start it running 3 or 4 minutes before I start teaching, and I go off just to grab myself a drink or something, then I know that they're still going to have a bit of audio going and some instructions on the screen to get them started when they join the class. We can just have a quick present to look at how those are looking. So if we start with the image, we've got ourselves the image there that we've imported and masked. We've got ourselves the video that's playing automatically, and we've got ourselves our audio that plays on click. Now, you may or may not have heard that audio, depending on whether it was loud enough, whether or not I talked over it. So in terms of the main components of things to insert, I think images, video, and audio are really important. I really like the audio option, and I think that's probably something that people haven't been making much use of. And of course, if you haven't checked the Moat session out, I think there's a little bit of a problem with the sound earlier on today, but we'll get that fixed and updated. So do go back and check out the Moat section if you want to be able to do it all within the browser. Of course, if you've got a mobile phone, you can obviously record your voice notes on there and upload them to your Google Drive and share it that way as well. Okay, one of the things that I think is a nice way to use Google Slides is as a virtual jotter space, and you can certainly create yourself that virtual jotter space by creating yourself a blank presentation, and let's create ourselves here a new layout. So when I'm setting this up in terms of tasks for children, I'll set it up with the task title, task information or the question, and then I will leave this bit here with your answer, and then I normally change that to this purpley color, and I just say to them, look out for that purple color, because then you'll know that's where you need to put your answers in. And I think in terms of scaffolding activities for them, having a slide deck to work through, which they can type straight into in their browser, is really powerful. And then I would assign the tasks like that, just like I would any others through Google Classroom. I'd also have the ability to be able to put videos or pictures in here as well, which then gives them that added element of interactivity as well. So I think that's really nice. Okay, one of the other things we'll want to look at is how we can embed a site that we've made, and embed a slide deck that we've made into a Google site or something similar. So it will create all the code for you to make this really easy. So if you've got a school website, for example, that's made in WordPress, or a school website that's made by a commercial provider, most of them will have the option to be able to embed external documents in them. So you can do that by going down to this publish to the web option. Now, if you're in Glow, the publish to the web option, you can publish publicly as a teacher, as a pupil. You'll only be able to publish your work, so it's viewable by someone who's logged into Glow in your local authority or people within the Glow domain who you have specifically added. So if I click here into publish the web, we get a few settings. So first off, I can publish it by using a link, and I can start the slideshow when the player loads, and I can keep it looping, so that's fine. Then I hit publish here. Am I sure I want to publish? I don't think it's great, but yeah, I'm sure. Let's get this published. And you see here, I've got this embed URL, and it's got some information about the publishing here for the software to know what to do with. So if you are embedding it somewhere and it asks for an embed link, then that's the link that you copy and paste in, and you could put that, as you can see, into Gmail, Facebook, Twitter. Or more likely, it will ask you for the embed code, and this is some iframe code, and you can go in and once again personalize the selection in terms of how big you want it to be, how quickly the slides change, and whether you want the player to load and the slideshow to repeat. And then you would copy and paste that code in. We've already hit the publish button, so it's grayed out here. So it's ready to go as soon as I put that in onto my Google site, school website, email, wherever we want to put it. Now, if we go down to published content and settings, you can stop publishing there. So that's important to highlight. If you're trying to put this somewhere, you will need to hit stop publishing. If you can't, you can see that's grayed out and you want to stop it, go down and find it in this menu here. You can also restrict access as a member of staff. So by default, it's going to share it publicly, but I can restrict it to just people within my school or local authority, and your school or local authority will be listed there when you go to do that. I will quite happy for that to be public for now, so I'll untick that box, and then I will close that. Now, one of the things I need to consider is the audio is something that's located in my drive, and I have embedded that here, and I want it to be available publicly. So if I go into my drive, right click and hit the share button, what I want to do is I want to change this get link bit to either be viewable for everyone in my school or local authority, or if I'm making it completely public, anyone with a link, so anyone on the internet will be able to hear that audio. And that's really important if you've got things embedded. So that really is only an issue if you've embedded a video that you've got stored in your Google Drive, or if you've got audio that's stored in your Google Drive. So they're worth just checking the settings on there. What's interesting is when you press the present button, it will tell you if people can't access the audio or the video, so you can then go back and change the settings. So you will get a handy reminder from Google Slides if you forget. Okay, let's have a look at some of the options in some of these other menus then. So our file menu, as you would expect, is all about the file management side of things. Worth pointing out here is the download option. You can download your PowerPoints. You can download it to become a Microsoft PowerPoint. And if you've got a Microsoft PowerPoint, you can upload that to Google Drive. And if you go to the settings option here before you upload it, so that's the settings cog in the top right, and go to settings, there is a box here that you can tick, convert uploaded files to Google Docs editor format. So if you do that, a Word document will become a Google Docs document, an Excel document will become a Google Sheets document, a PowerPoint will become a Google Slides document. And that's worth doing because it will allow you to edit them really easily in the Google editor. But if you want to leave them as Word, Excel, PowerPoints, you can do that, and you can still edit them in Google Slides, Sheets, or Docs. So just because you've converted something or choose not to convert it, it doesn't really matter. I would say for the best experience, you do want to convert because there might be a few things that you can't do to the documents that you'd like to otherwise. Focusing then just on that file menu, you also have the option to email the file as an attachment, and also look at its version history to see who's been making the changes, and that's the same two up there. Quite often people ask me about printing. So if you go to printing, settings and preview, you'll find here so if you just go file print, it will just print it out like we have here. But if you want to get like the notes view or a handouts view that you might be more familiar with, you find those options in the print preview section, and you can then personalize and tweak, add footers as you need. And then you can either download that as a PDF, or you can print it, and you can choose whether or not to include skipped slides. So a skipped slide is a slide that doesn't show when you're presenting. So if I right click or 2-finger tap on a slide, and if I then go down to skip slide, the slide's now got an I that's crossed out, which means it won't show when I go into the present mode. The edit menu gives us all our usual edit options. The view option, the ability to go in and view that master slide again. The master slide is also available in the slide option down to edit master, so they do take you to the same place. And you can also decide whether or not you see these speaker notes at the bottom. I quite like taking the speaker notes off when I'm working on something where I'm working with graphics, so I can then zoom in and look more closely, because it just gives me a little bit more space when I'm working to be able to get in and look at things in detail. Put the speaker notes back on for now. In terms of inserting, I've obviously spoken about inserting images, audio, and video. There's other options as well in terms of being able to make charts and shapes, or you can design things in Google Drawings. And if Google Drawings is something that you're interested in, I think it's a really powerful tool. And I did a webinar just before Christmas, so please go and check out the Google Drawings webinar if you're interested. Now, just like you can with all the Google Docs documents, you can share this so people can be viewers, editors, or commenters, and the comment functionality works just as it does with all the other G Suite products. So if I select an item and see the add comments, and then I can put my comment just in like here, and that allows everyone to see it. That's really useful when we're putting something together, because it allows us to, if we're working in groups, it allows us to give feedback to people quickly, and they can access all the comments there. In terms of looking a bit further down, if you're a languages teacher, you'll be particularly interested in being able to access the special characters. And if you're looking for a special character in particular, and you're on a touch device, so you're not too bad drawing with your mouse, you can see here I have tried to draw a capital E with an accent, and it has picked it up there, no problem at all. So you can drop in your special characters. Also on that insert menu is the ability to insert animations as well. And I think animation is something that if you are uploading a PowerPoint, many people put animations into their PowerPoint. So I'm just going to hit here the animation option. And you can choose both animations for the slide transition, so as I move from one slide to another, but also object animations. So I've got an animation on this E here to be able to fade in. So let's just present that and see what that looks like. So that's the slides fading in and out. And then when I press again, the E there fading in as we would expect. Okay. Insert menu. You've also got the option for the bottom of your slides to be able to put in like slide numbers. And if you want to put in some placeholders like the date, if you access the slide master, I then get the option to put in some placeholders, for instance, the title of the presentation. So that can be worth dropping in as well. Okay. Formatting is just as you would expect, giving you the options to be able to format text. So because I didn't have any text selected, it didn't give me any options. Now I have selected some text, I've got the options to be able to make that. If I've inserted a table, I can change the format of the table. Now I've got an image selected, this gives me the all the menu options there. Looking into the slide option, just like we were doing with the right click, the ability to get a new slide, duplicate a slide, delete it, skip a slide. Here, talking about moving slides, we can literally just pick up and drag our slides around. And I think that's a nice way of doing that. And I can also look if I want to move a slide to the beginning or the end by right-clicking. So if I've got a document where I've got lots of slides, being able to jump it up to the top or down to the bottom, that is particularly useful. Okay, let's get ourselves a blank slide here. And on that slide, I'm going to draw myself some shapes. Okay, so I'm just dropping in some shapes. Okay. Now, these shapes do mean absolutely nothing, so don't read anything into them. So when I put these shapes in, I've now ended up with them all layered one on top of each other, and that doesn't look super good because you can't see the shapes underneath them. And in terms of some of the more professional presentations that I've created, I've ended up layering different shapes together to create things that maybe look like a tablet or a Chromebook or a Christmas tree, if you watch the Google Drawings webinar. And I've done that by moving things backwards and forwards. So if I go to the arrange option, I can then send things to the back or send them backwards. So you can see here I've got one of my shapes, and then if I send it back again, you can also right click on the image to move it backwards and forwards as well, or use the shortcuts Control and the up arrow and then Control Shift if we wanted to jump to the all the way to the front. So that there is quite a nice way of being able to move, and you can see we can also include the text within that ordering as well. So let's bring that text to the front there, just like so. I can also group my items together by highlighting them and then right clicking. Now you'll notice that I picked up the text because the text is in front of that shape. So if that's the case, you can always just click on an item and you can drag it out of the way, or you can use the mouse, you can use the arrow keys just to move things around the page. I quite like using the arrow keys because it doesn't mean I'm going to move something up and down. I'm just going to move in the direction I want. I can right click and I can group those shapes together. This could be a logo. I'm not sure what the logo is going to be for, but drag that a bit smaller. If when you're dragging something, if you're a bit like me, can end up a bit careless and not drag it perfectly. If I press the Shift key forces the aspect ratio to be locked. So even if I just try dragging it smaller, I can't do that. If I take the Shift key off and drag it, I then get complete freedom. So Shift key is really useful with the aspect ratio, and that helps keep things in perspective. And then we can bring this back over using the arrow key that I just had there, line that back up. That's good. Okay, so that arrange item, let's say I've got these two items here. I can select both of them and go to arrange. I can center them on the page horizontally, and I could also center them on the page vertically, and I can access that by right clicking as well. So this will get them nicely aligned. So if you're having difficulty aligning things, select the things you want to align, right click, and then find that as an arrange option. Grouping and ungrouping, as I've said. Now then, let's create ourselves a new slide, and let's make this layout a blank. Okay, I'm going to just kick off by putting some text in. Let's call the text Chromebooks, and then I'm going to insert an image. I'm going to use the search the web feature here. I really like using the search the web feature. It gives us images that are available for modification and reuse. Find a picture of a Chromebook that I like the look of. Hit insert. You can select multiple images at the same time if you want to. You'll see down here, I've got an option that's called the Explore button. I'm going to hit the Explore button, and it's going to give me some suggested looks on what I want my presentation there to look like. I really love how quickly, using the Explore button, you can make really professional looking slides. And I'm going to drag that slide up to near the top there. And It looks at what else you've got in the slide deck. So it may have picked up this circular image, and then it's tried to recreate the circular image. So it's trying to stick with a theme that I was already starting to build. What I'm going to do, and the speaker notes down here, I'm going to show you what this looks like when I present. So if I just press the present button, it comes out full screen just like so. I'm going to press the escape button to exit, and I'm going to use the presenter view option. You'll see here that I can drag them off the screen and make that full screen. And now in my second screen that you can't see, I've got my presenter notes there, but I'll bring them on so you can see them as well. And the nice thing is when I'm presenting, I get a little stop clock up here to see what I'm doing time-wise, and also the ability to move between slides, which does mean that I can end up with quite a professional looking move through a slide deck without having my mouse coming on and off my screen and, you know, things resizing that I didn't expect. Also within Google Slides, there is the option to be able to do some Q&A. So if I press the Q&A option, start now, then people can visit this URL and they can ask questions on the presentation as it's happening. That may not be enabled within your domain if you're using InGlow in some local authorities. And then just finally, within that tools button, we've spoken about the explore option, but there is the option to be able to voice type your speaker notes, which is really useful. It works the same way as voice typing in Google Docs does. So that could be a quicker way of just quickly jotting down some notes into the speaker notes section. And you can also visit the activity dashboard. The activity dashboard is well worth looking at because it lets you see who's been viewing your presentation, provided that you've shared that presentation with them, and you can also see viewer trends over time. So I like using that viewer option just to make sure that learners have gone in and seen the document that I've put up. That could be a really good tool for just checking engagement. If the document hasn't been shared with them and they've just accessed it through following the URL, I've noticed sometimes it hasn't picked them up as a viewer, especially if it's embedded in a Google site. So you just need to read a little bit of information about the technical notes to get a full understanding of how the activity dashboard works before you start phoning people up saying they haven't accessed it, when the way they accessed it means it hasn't registered on the activity dashboard. There's lots of add-ons for Google Slides, and you'd need to speak with your local authority to see what add-ons are available for you. But that certainly lets you do more and get more functionality if that's what you're requiring. Last thing to show you then, in terms of at the top here, we've got ourselves our URL bar in the Omnibox. We can go in and we can change that to say preview instead of the word edit, and it gives you the slide nice and big with some small controls down here to move through the slide deck. If you want it in presenter mode, then you can change the ending to say present, and you'll find that presenter tools are all available for you down here. You obviously have edit to be able to go in and edit the document. And if I was looking to share a copy of this presentation with people, I would highlight the end here and I would put copy on the end. And this gives people the option to make a copy, and that will save that copy in their Google Drive. It's important to note, though, that that copy will not be shared with you. That was a really quick whistle-stop tour of lots of the features in Google Slides. One of the really great things that I've used Google Slides for is to make myself a primary teacher. I've used it to make a primary teacher a Bitmoji classroom, and the Bitmoji classroom is absolutely fantastic. That in itself is going to need its own webinar, which I wouldn't have had ready for today because it's still kind of finessing the details of how that looks. But Google Slides is absolutely an appropriate package to use to make Bitmoji Classroom. So do keep your eye out for the Bitmoji Classroom webinar that will be coming soon, because that will show you how to layer it up, add interactivity. But thank you so much for watching. It's been a real pleasure presenting at the workshop today. And if you didn't catch the keynote at the start of the day, I'd really recommend going back and watching that. There's been some really lovely comments on Twitter and messages coming in about how people have been reflecting on their practice because of it. At 2:30, we've got the support channel where we'll have a bit of a Q&A and a bit of a panel discussion. So please do join us for that. If not, thank you very much for joining us today, and hopefully see you again soon. Bye for now.